G'day and welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham, and today I'm joined by Jason Stribinskis of Los Cerros. Now, Jason, just recently you've had some interesting announcements of your Papua New Guinea projects, but we'll step back a bit from them to start with, because I want to go back a bit of the history of the company, actually, because Papua New Guinea is not the only place where you're exploring. So give us a bit of an idea of the portfolio.
Yeah, sure. So for the last few years, up until the PNG strategic move, we've been focused on a project called Quinchia in Colombia. And in the last 2 years, we've gone from the sniff of something promising to finalizing a 2.6 million ounce resource at a gram per ton at Quinchia. The bulk of that is in a at-surface porphyry, so it's actually a porphyry that daylights, quite unique, and a few satellite targets around there that add to 2.6 million ounces at a gram. So that was what the focus was for recent, and that's why our name is Los Cerros. It has this Spanish, the hills, basically. Now, last year, second half of last year, the political environment in Colombia changed, and whilst we haven't seen anything sort of really tangible, problematic coming out of the new government, the markets have sort of commented that this is a bit more high risk now, and let's see what the new government has planned for the mining industry in Colombia. And so we said, okay, well, while that ambiguity is there, that increased political risk, be it either reality or just the perception of potential risk, while that's there, let's use our funds to secure a different project. And that's where we found the PNG assets, and we announced that in November. We quickly went about arranging for drilling, and we're drilling at one of those targets called Kusi, which is the theme of the announcement a few weeks ago that you just mentioned, and the announcement yesterday.
And you're drilling at Kusi. That's really it's really paid off pretty quickly. And so, as you said, you got out there drilling quickly, but the results come back and have also shown quickly that maybe maybe it is something.
Yeah, well, that's it. The first hole that we planned at Kusi was relatively low risk. We were drilling between two other historic holes. I think they were 35 meters at 3 and 20 meters at 2.9. We were drilling between those two, so it was relatively low risk because we knew our first result had to be a good one. And then on the back of that good result, which went out 5 weeks ago or so, we were a bit more sort of bold in our drilling program and drilled holes 2, 3, and 4, and that was the theme of yesterday's announcement. And the most spectacular of those being the 52 meters at 3.67, with 6.8 meters of that grading 10.9 and 7.5 meters grading nearly 15 grams per ton. So absolutely spectacular hit yesterday, and our share price reacted accordingly. But in terms of the mineralization itself, what we've got at Kusi is two styles of mineralization. We've got the skarn layer, so an altered limestone skarn, much like Erzberg as part of the Grasberg project. It's that sort of thing, that sort of style of mineralization like Erzberg. It's a form of limestone. Hydrothermal fluids go in, react, and create this gold plus or minus copper unit called a skarn. That's what we're focused on because it's relatively shallow, it's relatively low risk, it's flat lying, it's an easy, digestible target for a junior, even an ambitious junior like us to pursue. That's the one style of mineralization. The other at Kusi, which we know far less about, is the assumption that there's a copper gold porphyry driving the system underneath. So there's a source, an engine, if you like, for this whole complex, and that engine is driving the fluids, and the fluids are settling out in the skarn layer that we're pursuing. But those drill results so far in that skarn are fantastic.
So it seems to me like it's really told you a lot already in a short space of time.
It's illuminating a lot, but we're learning with every hole. For example, those holes 1, 2, 3, 4, brilliant intercepts, really, really good grades, exactly where we expected the limestone to be intercepted, so it's behaving itself. But hole 5, we announced the visuals of hole 5 in that announcement yesterday, and that is significant for two reasons. One is the limestone is much wider. It visually looks like it could be twice as wide. The which hosts the skarn unit. And for the first time, and by the way, this fifth hole that we just have visuals is extending to the north. So we're going into the unknown as opposed to the first 4 drill results, which we're drilling in the paddock that we knew about. Now we're drilling into the unknown in hole 5 and hole 4 to some degree, which gave us that spectacular result. But we're drilling into the unknown. The limestone unit's much, much wider. And for the first time, we're seeing chalcopyrite, a copper mineral, copper primary mineral. And that's really exciting as well, because that tells us, along with a few other pathfinders, that heading in this northerly direction, and this is a big step out, about 165 meter step out from the drilling results, we're getting potentially into a high-grade gold zone, higher grade than what we've already drilled. So pretty exciting times. Hint of it at hole 4, and the visuals of hole 5 look really encouraging. Stay tuned.
Well, and the Kusi prospect, it's one of many prospects within the Ono project, isn't it? It's not just the Ono project. It's not a one-trick pony. It's not just the Kusi target. So obviously you've got more plans for Kusi, but the other targets within that project, are you thinking about looking at them anytime soon?
Yes, you're correct. What Ono, the big Ono project of which Kusi is a part, sits on an arc normal structure. So geologically, there's a north-south sort of line that hosts multi-million ounce projects like Wafi Gold Poo and Harmony Gold and Hidden Valleys, Harmony Gold's project, and similar. We're on the same sort of arc, but where you see these big discoveries is in these arc normal structures. Kusi is part of that arc normal, 90 degrees basically, 90 degrees to the structure. Kusi is part of that, but there are others that we talked about in the November release last year inside Ono that are really interesting. But while we also have 5 other target areas in PNG, so Ono is one of them, we have another one called Very Very, which is a target in the very south of PNG, and that's ultra high grade nickel in float samples in a creek. And when I say ultra high grade, we've got one float sample there at 45% nickel. Just crazy results. And many's a bit optimistic, maybe 5 or so at around 20% nickel in sulfides. So spectacular stuff, but very, very early stage. And we also have the Ube target, which is a big porphyry target, and the Emu target. Unlike the rest, the Emu targets in the highlands. All the rest are in the south of PNG in the Owen Stanley, much more easily accessible and lower risk as well.
As I was asking before, have you got much plans for them, or are you going to concentrate where you are at the moment?
What we've said publicly, Wally, is our hands are full with Kusi and the surface work we're doing at Very Very, and we'll do a bit of other surface work elsewhere. But Ube and Emu, the other 2 targets I just mentioned, they're really compelling, but they're classic porphyry type targets. And we've said in various announcements that we want some people with a stronger balance sheet and greater skill set to pursue those 2 porphyry targets, because that's a big program. They could be enormous, but they're big programs, and we've got our hands full with Kusi, and Kusi is delivering, so we don't need to go to plan B or plan C.
Well, all right, we're continuing on plan A at the moment. So what is plan A at plan A? What's coming up?
Plan A. Okay, so we've got 3. We've said we have a 3,000 meter program drilling. That's about 18 holes, because that Kusi skarn layer is relatively shallow, and we're into hole 5, so we've got another 13 or so holes to drill. I think hole 5, and I said this in yesterday's announcement, hole 5 might, and to some degree hole 4, might trigger a reassessment of what we do with that 3,000 meter drilling program and where we target, because we're getting this sort of really strong messages that it could get even more exciting to the north. So that might change. But the key story is 3,000 meters. We're 5 holes in, another 13 holes to go, and they're relatively shallow holes, so news flow will be relatively thick and fast.
Oh, well, that all sounds very good. So I'll tell you what, Jason. As I said, I think we've pretty much covered it now. But there's a lot more news to come. You can only anticipate that the drilling will present something. It's got to hold something with the results you've had already. So make sure you stay in touch so that we can deliver that news. But until then, thanks for making time to visit us here at the Roadhouse, and we really do look forward to hearing from you again very soon.
Perfect. Thanks for your interest.